Foreclosures banned until 2022? Well, I don't know exactly if that's going to happen, but I can tell you the president extended the foreclosure moratorium to the end of July 2021. Check this out. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am Justin Colby, and this video is for you because everyone in the world is feeling the effects of this entire foreclosure scenario. Now, if this is the first time that you have actually been to my channel, I do all things business, real estate, and entrepreneurship. And today we're gonna do a deep dive into real estate because this whole foreclosure moratorium and eviction moratorium has gone wild. All right, so let's start out with the very fun news. Just kidding, this is not the fun news, and hopefully it's received well. According to the White House, one in every five people that are currently renting are actually behind on their rents. That's staggering. That's 20% of people renting a house are behind on their rents. The other news coming directly from the White House, that over 10 million people are behind on their mortgages. That is shocking, and this video is gonna talk all about this, recent news, recent findings of what's going on and what they're proposing. All of that is gonna happen right now in this video. Hopefully you like this. Make sure you smash the like button and you find this informative on what you can do, or maybe even help your friends or family members deal with some of this as it's happening real time. Make sure you like this video because quite honestly, I put a lot of work and research into trying to find the accurate data of what's really gonna happen. And if this is your first time to my subscribed, I drop 3 videos a week. So that also means you need to turn on your notifications so you know when I drop these videos. All right, here we are. The president just signed off on all federally backed mortgages, which is HUD, FHA, USDA, and VA, are all still protected under the moratorium to the end of July 2021. Now, this is new as we are supposed to be actually lifting that moratorium at the end of this month. That is actually only 2 days away. And so there was a lot of people, multiple millions of people were at risk of actually now getting the foreclosure proceeding started. Also, FHFA, which is basically Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, also extended through July, the end of July 2021, the moratorium protection. So again, there are multiple millions of people, and the reports are still out, and I've heard 3 million, I've heard 10 million. Do your own research on how many people are actually gonna be affected by this. I'm not sure they actually know, but they are all protecting everyone for another month. Now, here's my takeaway from some of this information simply is they don't know what else to do. The government is simply saying, hey, let me buy another 30 days to try to continue to figure this out. Now, there are other reports about what they're gonna try to do in terms of the forbearance and loan modifications. Now, what articles are basically assuming, because it is not yet in writing, is that most of these banks are gonna be able to do some sort of loan modification with these individuals, that as long as they aren't too far down the path, and again, typically 120 days or more, and they have not been served a notice of default. Okay, notice of default is saying, hey, you are 120 days past your mortgage and you need to start paying. If you have not been served that notice, then likely the banks are gonna try to work with the individuals and actually give them forbearance and do a loan mod, which will then put all of that money that they owe, the back payments, and they will back end it on to the mortgage as long as they start making their mortgage payments again. Now, one thing to note here, this is about personal residence primarily. If you have land or you have multi-units, I'm not certain there because I didn't do a deep dive on exactly what's happening here. These are for your personal residence, and they are still on pause to the end of July, which is buying everyone time, including the government and the banks. Now, doing my deep dive on what's really happening real time for everybody, I did find out some of the major banks such as Wells Fargo and Chase and Bank of America all have a little different opinion on how they're gonna actually handle this. Now, as you see, Wells Fargo is actually kind of carte blanche saying, hey, if you own the home, they're gonna be willing to work with you beyond the simple moratorium that has been extended. They actually really wanna keep people in their home and not deal with this big foreclosure process. So that's Wells Fargo position. Now, Bank of America and Chase, not exactly on the same page there. Bank of America specifically was highlighting that 90% of their forbearance individuals or borrowers are actually being caught up, and so they feel like that's a positive note and they're gonna kind of take the rest in their own hands. Very vague in Bank of America, by my opinion, very vague for them to say that because they're spinning a positive light, but they're not actually saying that they're gonna continue to help out their borrowers. JP Morgan Chase also has a very similar outlook. They're highlighting this 90% of their borrowers have caught up, which is definitely positive, but doesn't seem to align with all the reports of all these individuals who are actually behind on their mortgage and in forbearance, and all that doesn't really align with what Bank of America and Chase are actually saying here. And so both of these banks are basically highlighting in a very vague manner that 90% of their borrowers are up to date and good, and they are not really talking about what they're going to do with the 10% that they say are actually behind and actually are not paying their mortgage. And so this again brings back to highlight, what are the banks going to do when they have millions of people that they're going to what? Kick out on the street? Again, if you've seen any of my previous videos about this whole, moratorium and foreclosures and evictions, I would tell you that I don't know what the government can do. I don't know what the banks can do beyond what they're actually doing, which is trying to figure it out the best way possible. Earlier this year, we found out that the banks are going to try to work with people who have not been given that notice of default, which is typically saying, hey, you're 120 days late. I need to start the actions of, foreclosure process. So my understanding, based around the research done here in these articles that you have just seen, is they're actually going to be able to continue to loan mod, for lack of a better way of saying it, these individuals have not been served that notice. Now, it doesn't guarantee that if you have been served that notice that you're going to get foreclosed on. It's not 100% certain, not with all the vagueness of what's going on right now, but it does seem that if you've been served a notice of default, that the banks actually will try to move forward and actually foreclose on you. Now, don't get too scared because that is not 100% certain. However, I would encourage you to do your own research. In fact, I would encourage anyone who has received a notice of default to call their bank immediately. Work with your bank. I would advise anyone here that is in trouble in terms of has not been paying their mortgage for at least 120 days, doesn't know how to pay their mortgage, or maybe is, trying to figure that out. I would be in a lot of communication with your bank, because your bank will be your friend as long as you communicate. Now, I know that you're just another number to them, but as long as there's open communication and you are trying to resolve it in a good way with integrity, then they will do the best they can to help you out. Now, I know this isn't a fun subject, but if you are enjoying this topic, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you turn on the notification. If you have any comments or questions, put them down below. I want to engage with you and help advise you or give you my 2 cents on what's going on here, because I think everybody, including government and the banks, have no real idea how to handle it. So I'm just doing my best to echo what I've done my research on. Now, there's a whole nother scenario here, which I even titled this topic, which is, are foreclosures going to be banned to the end of 2021? Now, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau is offering up this, I don't want to say article, but document that if it does pass, it'll actually stop all foreclosures to the end of 2021. Now, again, based around all the research I've done in the article I just showed you right now, there is likely not going to happen because it's still just a suggestion or a thought or an idea, or it's been offered up out there, if you will, but nothing has been executed and it has not been set in place. And so I don't want people watching this video, even though some of the title is talking about will there be a foreclosure ban to the end of 2021, It's just uncertain. Nothing has been signed. There's not a lot of articles out there saying that for sure this is gonna happen, but it is something that is being proposed. I keep going back to this one thing for all of you out there. I don't know what the best scenario is. As a capitalist myself, it is a little difficult to know that there are people that are not paying their mortgage even though they can. That is difficult for me to stomach. But I also know there's a lot of people that have been financially very hurt by this entire COVID process. And so my heart goes out to them and bleeds for them, because I don't know, you know, there's not a lot that they can do, and then there's not a lot that the bank can do. And so my heart bleeds for those individuals. So again, not 100% certain the right decision. All right, guys, so listen, at the end of the day, I'll say this again. I'm doing the best I can to inform you of what's happening real time. This is a very real scenario for many, many people, millions of people. Hopefully you are not affected by it, but I would tell you this, if you are, or if you have friends or family members that are, the best advice I can possibly give would be is get in contact with the banks. Understand what they're trying to do. Make sure they know what you are trying to do, and just have integrity with handling the scenario. It's not good for anybody. The government doesn't know how to handle it. Obviously, they just extended another 30 days. The banks absolutely don't know how to handle it, because they don't want to take back millions of homes into their own portfolio. It will get interesting here very, very soon. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I continue to provide you videos that are top of mind, topics that are right now that are really happening. And hopefully one of these days we can look back on these videos and kind of have a good laugh and say, man, that was a crazy time. So I hope you find this well. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.